There is a lot of attention today to bringing development solutions and climate-smart technologies to scale. In this presentation, we argue that science communication must pay more attention to responsible scaling. The earliest perspective on scaling and communication is from Everett Rogers in his famous book, The Fusion of Innovations in 1962. In this perspective, science communication was seen as helping individuals go through the adoption process at the end of a linear pipeline, and the focus was on the end user and his or her decisions. Due to the many problems with linear and deficit models, the focus shifted soon to participatory models of science communication, where the focus was on enhancing interaction in innovation systems and in fostering coordination between research, societal agents, enterprises, etc. And the focus shifted to the people in the middle, people who could articulate demand or help stakeholders to vision the future, innovation champions, people who could support in addressing conflicts or supporting learning in multi-stakeholder settings. The focus shifted to the middle. And today we see a lot of attention to science communication as a process of supporting responsible research and innovation, where the focus is on shaping design conversations in science, with prominent cases reported in our journals about nanotechnology, CRISPR-Cas, GMOs, geoengineering, etc. Our observation is that we seem to be moving further upstream. However, the negative or positive effects of science and technology are not only defined upstream. We know very well that users adapt and translate ideas and technologies to their own situation. And context matters, and contexts are diverse by physical context or also institutional frameworks. And the question is whether these contextual conditions can be sufficiently anticipated in an upstream process. This is a rhetorical question. The answer is no. For example, whether solar power benefits the poor depends on all sorts of social arrangements, whether they need to buy and own it themselves, whether they can lease it, whether they can subscribe to it, or whether credit is available, or whether people have sufficient collective action to operate together. And whether oil palm production is sustainable depends on legal frameworks, on certification systems, on the level of producer organization. And we also see that what may be positive at a small scale, an individual farmer, may have negative effects at another level of scale when the whole of Indonesia becomes an oil palm plantation. So we need to complement responsible research and innovation with attention for responsible scaling and a renewed focus on the many organizations that promote and advocate the use of innovation in society. So the question is how? Like in responsible research, we need a deliberative process through which practitioners can reflect contextually on scaling for what purpose and for whom and who has access, under what conditions do they have access, what might unintended consequences be at different levels of scale, at different points in time, or dependent on what strategies and coalitions. Importantly, when doing so, the focus should not be on a single technology, but on packages of technical and social organizational changes and innovations that operate together. So innovations consist of different technologies, the solar panels, the batteries, the light bulbs, the water heater, but also the social organizational arrangements, the user cooperative, maybe the lease contract or the maintenance service and the savings scheme, that all together must scale up and down to make this innovation effective. And then it becomes interesting to deliberate how alternative socio-technical packages may play out for socially differentiated audiences, maybe men versus women, or how they play out at different scale levels, the household level or the district or society as a whole, or how they play out for different objectives, maybe poverty alleviation versus environmental objectives. Without such considerations, we cannot really work towards responsible scaling. In summary, if we do not pay attention to responsible scaling, the balance between upstream and downstream reflection on responsibility gets lost, and then responsible research and innovation runs the risk of reinforcing the very technocentric and linear tendencies it aims to address. Thank you for your attention.